first contact and the unexpected guest. The grand halls of the galactic convergence citadel echoed with voices of 1,000 species. Glowing tapestries woven with bioluminescent fibers hung from the impossibly tall ceilings, detailing histories of alliances, wars, and moments of peace long past. Among them, a new face had recently begun to draw both admiration and skepticism: humans, known as Deathworlders. They carried a reputation for fierce adaptability, boldness, and an unpredictable streak that kept even the most seasoned diplomats on edge. Ambassador Kroll Vex, a four-eyed dignitary from the Thalnari Republic, stood at the edge of the central chamber, his sharp green eyes scanning the room. He had been a diplomat for decades and prided himself on anticipating political shifts, but even he had been unprepared for humanity's meteoric rise in galactic politics. Today, however, the Citadel buzzed with even stranger rumors, whispers of the Lumini, the galaxy's most peaceful species, known for their translucent, luminescent skin and serene, floating cities suspended over oceans, had remained staunchly neutral in conflicts for millennia. Yet, a murmur floated through the chamber that suggested something was changing. Kroll Vex's attention snapped back as a loud clang announced the arrival of the human contingent, led by Commander Marina Chen, whose military feats were already legend. The humans walked in with a confident stride, but what drew Kroll's attention most was the man at her side, Blake Washington, humanity's newest ambassador, carrying what appeared to be a stack of pizzas. As the chamber watched, perplexed, Blake placed the pizzas on the central table with a grin. "Nothing like a peace offering," he said, flashing a smile that could have powered a star. The silence was palpable, broken only by a hesitant chuckle from Trill, Kroll's ever-patient aide. "Is this a diplomatic tactic?" Trill whispered, antennae quivering with restrained amusement. Before Kroll could respond, a shimmering light filled the room. High Illuminator Astra of the Lumini appeared, gliding into the chamber with an elegance that quieted the crowd. Her arrival sent a ripple through the assembled beings. The Lumini were rarely seen outside their water-covered worlds, let alone in the heart of galactic politics. Astra's eyes, crystalline and deep as an ocean trench, landed on the pizzas. A soft smile curved her lips. "I see humanity's reputation for unconventionality is well earned." Marina nodded, her steel-gray eyes meeting Astra's. "We're here to show that peace and unity don't come from rigidity, but from understanding, and if it takes pizza to do that, so be it." The room erupted into a hum of confusion and cautious curiosity. Kroll felt his diplomatic instincts tingle. This was more than a show, it was a declaration. He watched as Astra accepted a slice with the grace of someone tasting a rare delicacy, and for a brief moment, the hall was filled with a collective sense of wonder. An unlikely alliance. The official meeting began soon after, with the usual pomp and circumstance, yet it was clear that something had shifted. For the first time, humanity's casual approach seemed to intrigue more than annoy the galactic elite. As the discussion about the rising threat of the Nexar Empire unfolded, Astra's voice rose above the din. "The Lumini have always believed that true strength lies not in domination, but in resilience and adaptability." Her gaze swept over the room, finally landing on Blake, who had just finished his slice. "Humanity embodies this in ways we can learn from." Gasps rippled through the room. Kroll exchanged a shocked glance with Trill, who looked as if someone had just proposed turning the Citadel into a nightclub. Commander Zargath of the Brax Consortium, a being made of dark, pulsing matter, growled from across the chamber. "You're choosing to side with Deathworlders? Against an empire as mighty as the Nexar?" Astra's serene expression hardened. "When peace is threatened by oppression, we do not stand idle. The Lumini choose to defend peace with those who have shown they value it." She turned to Marina and nodded, a silent alliance sealed in that simple gesture. The shadow of war. As the session ended, dignitaries and military leaders departed, muttering amongst themselves. Kroll stood by the arched entrance, absorbing what had just transpired. The most peaceful species in the galaxy had chosen to align with the most unpredictable. It was as if water had decided to embrace fire. Ambassador Kroll shook his head, a rueful smile playing on his lips. "Well, Trill," he said, glancing at his aide, "it seems the galaxy is about to learn that even peace has its warriors." Trill's antennae twitched with excitement, and it all started with pizza. As the chamber doors closed, Kroll couldn't shake the feeling that this alliance would soon change the fate of the galaxy. And deep within the halls of the Xylar Dominion, the news of this unlikely partnership reached ears that were not pleased. when peace chose violence. Word of the new alliance between humanity and the Lumini spread like wildfire through the galaxy. It reached the corners of space where even rumors of war had been unknown for centuries. The galactic networks were abuzz with footage of High Illuminator Astra sharing a slice of human pizza, a moment that had become both a symbol and a warning. In the Xylar Dominion, this news fanned the flames of indignation. Emperor Vala Nexa's advisors convened in the dark halls of the Imperial War Chambers, where light was a luxury and whispers carried like thunder. They dare to defy the Dominion? Hissed General Malarax, his shadowed figure pacing in front of a colossal star map showing the regions of contested space. His scales shimmered in the dull light, reflecting the ferocity in his narrowed eyes. The Lumini, of all beings, aligning with the Deathworlders. It is an insult we cannot ignore. Vala Nex, seated on his throne carved from the bones of ancient conquests, nodded slowly. His voice was as deep and cold as the void. Prepare the fleet. We will show them the consequences of meddling in the affairs of empires. The battle plans. Meanwhile, on the human colony of New Horizon, Ambassador Blake Washington sat in a hastily prepared war room with Commander Marina Chen, High Illuminator Astra, and an assembly of human and Lumini strategists. The walls were lined with holographic projections of the Nexar fleet, red arrows marking their ominous advance toward human space. Marina's jaw clenched as she studied the data. The Dominion doesn't just intimidate, they eradicate. We need to be prepared for the worst. Astra, her calm presence a soothing counterpoint to the rising tension, raised a slender hand. We have a chance to change the course of this war before it begins. The Lumini have always avoided conflict, but this time, we choose to defend, and we have our strengths. Blake leaned forward, a mischievous glint in his eyes. What's the plan? I assume it's more than serving them pizza. Astra's lips quirked into a faint smile. Indeed, we are masters of light, of sound, of the mind's calm. We will use these to unsettle the Nexar before they even reach us. The most unlikely training session. In preparation for the looming battle, joint training sessions between human and Lumini forces began. The sight was almost comical at first, hard-nosed human soldiers struggling to sit cross-legged in meditation, guided by the serene, glowing figures of the Lumini. Blake watched as one Marine broke out into a chuckle only to be immediately silenced by a Lumini's gentle but firm telepathic reminder: even humor must be controlled to wield peace as a weapon. Dr. Alexandra Kumar walked around the room, checking on the participants and measuring their biofeedback. If we can harness this combined focus, we can create a psychic resonance field strong enough to disrupt the Dominion's ranks. Commander Marina surveyed the room, watching seasoned warriors exude an unnatural stillness. It was an odd sight, but if it worked, it would be a game-changer. When peace first fought, the moment arrived sooner than anyone anticipated. Early warning sensors detected the Xylar fleet's warp signatures blinking into existence just beyond the edge of human-controlled space. The fleet was vast, a dark tide of gleaming black vessels marked with the sigil of the Dominion. Marina stood on the bridge of the Erebus, the flagship of humanity's defensive fleet, looking out at the sea of ships. Astra's image shimmered into view on a translucent communication panel, her calm voice steadying the room. It begins, Astra said, her hands moving in a graceful pattern as she prepared the Lumini's first act of resistance. Marina nodded. Initiate Operation Paradox Light. The Lumini ships, previously unseen, materialized in a breathtaking display of refracted starlight, forming a barrier between the Dominion and the human fleet. They emitted pulses of energy that resonated through the ether, creating waves of sound and light. The Xylar ships faltered as their communication systems erupted with dissonant tones and their visual sensors were overwhelmed by bursts of shifting light patterns. General Malarax roared over the Dominion's command channels. What sorcery is this? Aboard the Erebus, Blake smirked as the Xylar fleet stumbled in confusion. They didn't see this coming, he muttered, the line a mix of pride and relief. The human fleet opened fire, not with chaotic aggression, but with precise, coordinated strikes. Underneath the staccato rhythm of missile launches and energy beams, the humans and Lumini combined their efforts, with meditative resonance guiding their aim and response. The field of battle became a symphony of strategy, where every maneuver was deliberate, every move a testament to the newfound alliance. The tide turns. For the first time in generations, the Xylar Dominion experienced disarray. Their advanced ships, usually a fearsome sight, found themselves outmatched by an unpredictable mix of human ingenuity and Lumini's mastery over energy and perception. Reports flooded in from the lower decks, crew members feeling waves of unexplained calm, weapon systems momentarily disengaged by bursts of harmonic disruption. In the heart of the Dominion's flagship, General Malarax's rage turned to a chill as he realized what the galaxy would soon know: peace had chosen to fight back, and it had found the perfect allies in humanity. The most beautiful battle in galactic history. The battle in space became an awe-inspiring display of art and warfare, each moment a dance of light and sound unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Lumini ships, graceful and iridescent, weaved through the dark canvas of space, emitting pulses that created shifting patterns of light. These patterns disrupted the Xylar Dominion's targeting systems, causing their vaunted precision to falter. Each pulse resonated with a frequency tuned to calm the human allies and disorient the enemy, a psychological and tactical advantage that was turning the tide. Commander Marina Chen barked orders on the bridge of the Erebus, her voice unwavering. Advance the second wave, keep them locked in the field. Blake, status report on the third flank? Blake Washington, now fully entrenched in his role as a wartime diplomat, glanced up from his tactical station, where he was coordinating the fleet's maneuvers with the Lumini. Holding strong, Commander. The Lumini's harmonic frequencies are keeping the Dominion's support ships in disarray. We have them boxed in. Astra's serene voice echoed across the comms. Prepare for the Radiant Surge. It is time to show them what peace can do when pushed to defend. The Radiant Surge. Aboard the Lumini flagship, Vasari's Light, High Illuminator Astra closed her eyes, sending a mental wave to her crew. They responded in perfect synchrony, their collective meditation shifting from tranquility to focused intent. The ship's crystalline core began to hum, a sound that grew in power until it pulsed out into the vacuum. The Radiant Surge swept across the battlefield, an ethereal wave of shimmering light and deep, resonant sound. Xylar ships quaked as the surge passed through them, shorting circuits, dampening aggressive instincts, and sowing chaos among their ranks. Yet, for the human fleet, it felt like a surge of adrenaline, as if every nerve had been fine-tuned for the moment. General Malarax roared in frustration, his voice a guttural snarl over the Dominion's command frequency. Fall back, regroup at Point Omega. But even as the order spread, confusion reigned, pilots faltered, tactical officers hesitated, and the human fleet pressed the advantage. Marina seized the moment. All units, focus fire on the command ship, target their flagship and disarm their tactical systems. When peace chose violence, the assault was swift and precise. Dr. Alexandra Kumar, overseeing emergency response on the Erebus, was now repurposing her medical expertise. She directed the deployment of small pods carrying non-lethal charges that would disable Xylar ship's power cores. These pods emitted a harmonic pulse engineered to mimic the Lumini resonance, neutralizing the enemy without bloodshed. Krolvex watched from a remote observation platform on the Citadel, his 4 eyes wide with astonishment. What was happening was unprecedented. This was not the brute force of the Dominion nor the strategic coldness of the Brax Consortium. This was a symphony, unexpected, beautiful, and terrifying in its effectiveness. Ambassador Trill, usually calm, whispered, "The galaxy will never be the same. They've shown us something we couldn't even imagine." Kroll nodded, the truth settling in his chest. Humanity, with its boundless creativity, combined with the Lumini's calm wisdom, had become an unstoppable force. The fall of an empire, the vanguard of eternity, the Dominion's flagship, loomed in the center of the battle, with the Radiant Surge still echoing across its hull. Its systems struggled to reboot. General Malarax, pacing like a caged beast, stared at the failing readouts and cursed. "Send reinforcements, send every ship we have." But the reinforcements were already faltering, their formation broken by the strange, coordinated assault. The Dominion's fleet, known for its ironclad discipline, was splintering. Then, as if to punctuate the moment, High Illuminator Astra's voice returned over the comms. "This is not a war we wanted, but it is one we were prepared for." The human and Lumini fleets closed in on the flagship, their final coordinated strike sending a pulse through space that shimmered like a supernova. The Dominion ships hesitated, their tactical screens going dark one by one. General Malarax's eyes widened in disbelief as he realized the battle was over. The Dominion's fleet, once the pride of their empire, began to retreat, defeated not by brute force but by a combination of strategies so unique, so harmonious, that no other power had stood a chance. A new chapter for the galaxy. The victory reverberated through the galactic network. Every spaceport, every star system, Every outpost buzzed with the tale of humanity and the Lumini, the alliance that combined creativity with wisdom, strategy with harmony. The story of the most beautiful battle in galactic history was told and retold, each time with reverence. Back on the Erebus, as the first rays of an unfamiliar star crept into the observation deck, Blake Washington looked out over the silent wreckage and the shimmering ships of their allies. Commander Marina stood beside him, arms crossed, eyes still fierce with the adrenaline of battle. It wasn't just about winning, she said, a hint of a smile breaking through. It was about proving that peace, when it chooses, can be the most powerful force of all. Astra's image appeared on the panel, serene and glowing. Indeed, today, we did more than defend our homes. We reminded the galaxy that alliances built on trust and understanding are unbreakable. In that moment, as the crew of the Erebus exchanged looks of shared triumph, the future of the galaxy felt brighter than it ever had. Peace had fought, and it had won not with violence alone, but with creativity, unity, and the determination of those who refused to surrender to fear. The aftermath and the unraveling. The battle's end left the galaxy in stunned silence. 4 days, the galactic convergence citadel remained crowded with dignitaries and emissaries who had witnessed or heard of the spectacle at the edge of human space. The Xylar Dominion's retreat was a shockwave that reverberated across the star systems, toppling assumptions and rewriting the balance of power. Ambassador Krolvek sat in his private chamber, surrounded by the soft glow of illuminated star charts and dispatches. The reports were extraordinary. Humanity's unprecedented tactics and the Lumini's subtle yet powerful contributions had altered more than just a battle. They had shifted the galaxy's understanding of warfare and diplomacy. He glanced at Trill, who was busy cataloging a mountain of communiques from various factions, some pledging alliances, others offering guarded warnings. Trill, Kroll said, leaning back, it seems we are on the precipice of a new era, but peace, like war, is not without its complications. Trill's antennae twitched thoughtfully. Indeed, Ambassador, the Lumini's choice has stirred ambitions in others. I've heard whispers from the far reaches that the Brax Consortium and other fringe empires are watching closely. Kroll nodded, eyes narrowing as he read through a transmission marked urgent. The message was from Commander Marina Chen, who had just returned from the front lines. Her words were both a report and a warning. We have won a battle, but not the war. The Dominion is regrouping, and they are not the only ones watching. The Xylar's response. Deep within the halls of the Xylar Dominion, General Malarax stood before Emperor Valanex, who sat in his shadowed throne room, his gaze cold and calculating. Despite the defeat, Vala was composed, his scaled fingers steepled beneath a sharp chin. This loss was unexpected, the Emperor said, his voice rumbling like a distant storm, but not irredeemable. We now understand that humanity and the Lumini are more formidable than anticipated. General Malarax, still seething from the humiliation, gritted his teeth. We underestimated them, but they exposed something crucial in their victory. The Lumini's power relies on harmony and light. Disrupt that, and we disrupt them. Valanex's eyes glimmered, and a thin smile curved his lips. Good, prepare a counter-strategy. We will exploit the weaknesses we've seen, but first, we need to sow discord. Let the galaxy question this alliance. Let them doubt its strength. The shifting allegiances. On New Horizon, celebrations were both joyous and somber. The colony had watched the battle unfold on massive holoscreens, their collective heart beating as one. Now, streets were lined with banners. Humans and Lumini mingled freely, and music played into the night air. But Commander Marina Chen knew that this was only the calm before another storm. High Illuminator Astra stood beside her at the colony's central square, where lanterns floated into the sky, their lights symbolizing hope. She looked out over the crowd, her expression serene but eyes shadowed with concern. This is a victory worth celebrating, Astra said, the soft luminescence of her skin casting a glow over them. But we must remain vigilant. The Dominion will not sit idle. Blake Washington joined them, his usual light-hearted demeanor subdued. Reports from the Council say that the Brax Consortium is already making moves. They're trying to test the cracks in this new alliance. Marina's eyes met Astra's. We need to strengthen our bond before others can tear it apart. There's only one way to do that. Astra nodded. A council of peace, hosted by the Lumini. Let them come. Let them see the unity firsthand. The Council of Light. Weeks later, representatives from across the galaxy arrived at the Lumini's homeworld, Vezari, a place unlike any other. Oceans of bioluminescent water stretched as far as the eye could see, their glow matched only by the hovering crystalline cities that defied gravity. The air hummed with a tranquil energy that resonated with all who set foot on the world. Ambassador Krolvex arrived with Trill, awestruck by the beauty of Vezari's radiant shores. Delegations from dozens of star systems followed, some eager, others cautious. The Brax Consortium's envoys, sleek and shadowed figures with unreadable expressions, watched everything with keen interest. The council chamber was a sphere of refracted light, each facet reflecting the myriad faces and features of those present. Marina, Blake, and Dr. Kumar stood at one end, with Astra at their side. The gathering buzzed with murmurs until a chime silenced the room. Astra began, her voice calm but imbued with conviction. We gather here not as conquerors, but as guardians of peace. We do not seek dominion, we seek harmony, and we will defend it. From the far end, a Brax Consortium diplomat leaned forward, eyes glinting with subtle challenge. But harmony, as we all know, is fragile. What guarantees do we have that this alliance will not unravel when tested? Blake stepped forward, a rare seriousness in his tone. You misunderstand. Harmony isn't fragile, it's flexible, and when combined with humanity's resilience, it becomes unbreakable. The council fell silent, absorbing his words. In that pause, Ambassador Kroll felt the balance shift again. This was no ordinary alliance, it was an evolution of what it meant to wield power in a galaxy shaped by centuries of conflict. The seeds of discord, far from the council's glow, in the dim war rooms of the Xylar Dominion, a different gathering was taking place. General Malarax stood before an array of holograms depicting dark figures, other powers with vested interests in disrupting the newfound peace. Let them think they are safe, Malarax said, his voice dripping with venom. We will strike when they least expect it, from the shadows they trust. Emperor Vala next watched with cold satisfaction. The end of peace begins with doubt, and we will ensure doubt spreads like a shadow. The galaxy was at a crossroads, one that could either lead to an era of unprecedented unity or a descent back into chaos. And as celebrations continued on Vezari, humanity and their newfound allies knew that the hardest battles were not fought with weapons, but with conviction and trust. The shadow of doubt, the serene glow of Vezari's skies gave a deceptive sense of safety. Underneath the luminescent waves and drifting cities, an undercurrent of tension began to stir. The success of the Human Lumini Alliance was undeniable, but whispers of dissent traveled faster than light. Reports trickled in from border colonies about Xylar agents sowing seeds of discord, preying on old rivalries and stoking fears. Ambassador Kroll Vex, ever observant, noticed the subtle shifts in conversations. Delegates who once spoke confidently now cast worried glances, their words more guarded. Even within the council chamber of Vezari, the seeds planted by the Xylar Dominion had begun to sprout. It was clear, the real test of their alliance would not be fought on battlefields but in the corridors of diplomacy. The first signs of division. In one corner of the council chamber, two prominent figures exchanged tense words. Counselor Threx, a tall, insectoid member of the Realtech, clicked his mandibles in frustration as he spoke with Commander Marina Chen. Your tactics are impressive, human, but they make us a target. The Dominion will not forget what happened at the battle. They will strike again. And when they do, they will not aim only at you, he said, his multifaceted eyes narrowing. Marina, unfazed, met his gaze. Counselor Threx, we cannot cower at the threat of retaliation. If we do, we lose before they even attack. Our strength comes from standing united, not in disbanding the moment danger approaches. The Brax Consortium's representative, a figure with smooth obsidian skin that shimmered with faint purple hues, watched intently. He leaned back, eyes calculating. Unity is fragile when built on fear. How long before one piece of this grand alliance breaks under pressure? Blake Washington, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. His casual manner belied the gravity of his words. Unity isn't fear, my friends, it's built on understanding. And if we're here, in this chamber, it's because we believe peace is worth fighting for, even when it's hard. A faint, approving nod from High Illuminator Astra reassured the room, but she knew their alliance needed more than words. It needed a demonstration of trust. A challenge from within. Days later, an unexpected incident threatened to unravel everything. News arrived that an unknown saboteur had targeted the Lumini's energy arrays, devices that maintained Vezari's floating cities and powered their harmonic defenses. The attack was subtle but effective, designed to create panic without obvious destruction. The room was tense as reports came in. Dr. Kumar quickly analyzed the damage alongside Lamini engineers. It's sophisticated work, she noted, glancing at Marina. No explosive, no lasting harm, but enough to send a message. Someone wants the Lamini to doubt their allies. A holographic transmission from the Xylar Dominion flickered to life, displaying General Malarax's cruel grin. What is harmony when the smallest act of betrayal can bring down your grand alliance? Be wary, for shadows breed distrust. The message ended, leaving a thick silence in its wake. Marina took a breath, then turned to Blake and Astra. We need to prove our unity, now more than ever. If we don't, we're playing right into their hands. Astra's eyes, bright as Vezari's stars, softened with determination. Then let us show them that our harmony cannot be so easily shattered. An alliance tested. The next day, a gathering was held in the heart of Vezari's largest floating city. Under the watchful eyes of thousands, delegates from across the galaxy assembled. Some skeptical, some hopeful. Marina stepped onto the illuminated platform beside Astra, their presence a statement in itself. Blake stepped forward, raising his voice so it carried over the crowd. The Xylar Dominion wants us to doubt, to believe that we cannot trust one another. But we stand here together not because we're blind to danger, but because we choose to face it as one. A murmur rippled through the crowd, but it was the voice of Counselor Threx that silenced it. And what of those who wish to tear us apart from within? How do we know this sabotage was not the first crack in our alliance? Astra raised her hand, casting an aura of light that caught everyone's attention. We have searched within, and we have found nothing. This act was meant to make us suspect each other, but suspicion only holds power if we let it. We must act as one, or we will fall as many. Suddenly, Trill, who had been monitoring transmissions, leaned close to Kroll and whispered urgently, Ambassador, we have intercepted a message. It's from a Xylar outpost. They're planning to stage another attack near the Council's chambers. Kroll's eyes widened. Inform the commanders. It's time for a true show of our alliance. The moment of reckoning. Marina's calm link buzzed, and she received Trill's message, without hesitation. She turned to Astra. They're moving now, we need to intercept. Astra nodded, and within moments, the combined human and Lamini forces sprang into action. Lamini ships shimmered into view, their harmonic pulses weaving a net of protective energy around Vezari's sky. Human fighter jets, fast and sharp, moved into flanking positions. Aboard the Xylar scout ships that approached, confusion spread as they met unexpected resistance. Their cloaking technology faltered under the Lamini light, and their comms were filled with interference, a human broadcast playing the notes of an ancient Earth symphony designed to disorient and disable enemy ships. On the ground, Blake coordinated with Dr. Kumar and the Lamini engineers. Their shared expertise in human and Lamini technologies had created an unbreakable defense. The scout ships faltered, their advance stymied. Marina's voice rang out on the open channel. Let this be the message sent across the stars. We are united, we are prepared, and we will not be divided. A new dawn. As the threat dissipated, the crowd erupted in applause. The moment captured and transmitted across countless star systems. Kroll watched with a rare smile as the Brax Consortium's representative exchanged a glance with their peers, a flicker of respect in their eyes. Astra turned to Marina and Blake, her voice warm. Today, we have shown that our strength is more than weapons and tactics. It is trust. It is unity. Blake grinned, tired but triumphant, and a little creativity doesn't hurt either. For the first time in memory, the galaxy began to understand that true peace was not just the absence of war but the presence of alliances strong enough to withstand the storm. The turning point, the Xylar Dominion's failed incursion into Vezari and the unexpected unity between humanity and the Lamini sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Every news channel from the core systems to the far reaches of the Outer Rim carried reports of the event. Some called it a miracle, others, a warning, but for those who knew the Xylar Dominion, this setback was just the beginning of a more insidious plan. Deep within the halls of the Dominion's command fortress, General Malarax seethed with fury. The luminous energy of the Lamini, combined with humanity's unpredictable ingenuity, had become more than just a nuisance, it was a threat. Emperor Valanex, seated in the dim glow of his war room, observed the latest transmission showing the jubilant scenes from Vezari. His face was a mask of cold calculation. They celebrate now, Vala said, voice as measured as ever, but we will make them question their faith in each other. Malarax bowed. Plans are already in motion. My emperor, Soon, their alliance will fracture from within. Rumors and doubt. Back on Vezari, the air remained electric with hope and determination, but shadows lingered at the edges. Reports circulated of unknown figures whispering dissent in the quieter corners of the floating cities. Strange, coded messages began appearing in the Council's communication systems, hinting at betrayals and hidden motives. Marina Chen, Blake Washington, and High Illuminator Astra sat in a quiet chamber, the tension between them palpable. A holographic projection in front of them flickered, showing intercepted messages that originated from rogue channels. "It's clever," said Blake, leaning back with a sigh. "Whoever's behind this knows how to twist truths into questions and questions into doubt." Astra nodded, the soft glow of her presence flickering with a hint of unease. "If this is allowed to spread, our unity will indeed falter. We must act decisively." Commander Chen's brow furrowed. "We need more than just counter-propaganda. We need to show that no amount of manipulation can fracture our resolve. And to do that, we have to find the source of these whispers." A dangerous search. Trill, ever attentive, had already begun his research. He appeared at Kroll Vex's side, antennae quivering. "Ambassador, I've tracked some of the coded messages to a system on the far edge of Xylar territory. It's remote, a place where rogue operatives could operate without oversight." Kroll's eyes narrowed. "We must go. If we uncover the truth, we can end this campaign of doubt before it starts." The mission was set. A small strike team, composed of both human and Lumini operatives, departed under the cover of starlight. The journey was fraught with the risk of encountering Dominion scouts, but they navigated the dangerous expanse with precision. When they reached the system, a cold, shadowed realm of blackened stars, they discovered an outpost broadcasting to dozens of small relay beacons. Inside the outpost, they found signs of Xylar agents working with figures known to sow dissent throughout the galaxy. But what shocked them most was a cache of recordings showing doctored footage of humans and Lumini arguing, fighting, even betraying each other. Marina's jaw tightened as she played one of the holograms, showing her face twisted in anger, fabricated words accusing Astra of weakness. "So, this is how they plan to tear us apart." A Lumini operative turned to Astra. "High Illuminator, if this spreads, even those most loyal to our cause will doubt." Astra stood taller, the glow of her form intensifying. "Then we do not let it spread. The Council confronts the truth." Back on Vezari, the evidence from the outpost was presented in a council session that had the largest attendance in recent history. Holographic recordings were displayed, showing not only the forged footage but the messages designed to sow chaos. Councillor Threx stood, his mandibles clicking with anger. "We have been played, but we will not allow ourselves to be divided." Blake stepped forward, the room silent as he spoke. "This alliance wasn't just formed in the heat of battle, it was forged from shared hope and trust. We've proven what we can do when we fight side by side. And now, we must fight this shadow not just with weapons, but with unity." The Brax Consortium's representative, who had previously voiced skepticism, stood. Their obsidian skin shimmered with hues of deep blue. "If the Dominion can stoop to this, then they are more desperate than we believed. I propose we lend our own relay networks to counter their lies." A murmur of surprise filled the room. Kroll Vex nodded approvingly. "Then it seems this alliance is more resilient than even we dared to hope." A message across the stars. Within days, the combined efforts of human, Lumini, and newfound allies from across the galaxy began to broadcast messages of unity. They replayed scenes of the battle at Station 7. Stories of resilience and trust forged in the heat of adversity. New footage showed humans and Lumini training side by side, their shared laughter and silent, meditative moments alike. The Xylar Dominion's attempts to disrupt the alliance faltered as more species turned their attention to the bold new coalition. It wasn't just a union of military might, it was a movement that inspired hope and reminded even the most war-weary systems that peace was worth defending. High above Vezari, under a sky now known not only for its beauty but for its defiance, Marina, Astra, and Blake watched as the galaxy began to shift. The lights of celebration once again reflected in the waves, but this time they knew that true peace would need more than just victory, it would need vigilance. As Astra's hand touched the illuminated glass of the viewing deck, she spoke with quiet certainty. "The shadow has been driven back, but we must be the light that ensures it never returns." Marina's eyes met hers, fierce and unwavering. "And we will, together." The final gambit. The Xylar Dominion, humiliated and frustrated by the failure of their shadow campaign, prepared for one last, desperate strike. Emperor Vala Nex, cold and calculating as ever, stood before the massive viewport of his warchamber. Beyond the glass, a fleet that seemed to stretch into infinity pulsed with the light of activated war engines. "They've proven their resolve," General Malarax said, his voice grating with forced calm. "But resolve can be broken. They will not withstand the full might of the Dominion." Vala's eyes narrowed. "This will not be a battle of attrition. It will be the storm that shatters them." As the final preparations were made, a message was sent across the galaxy, a warning for humanity and the Lumai. "We come as the darkness that will consume your light." A call to arms. On Vezari, the news was met with grim determination. The floating cities hummed with the resonance of Lumini ships preparing for battle, their harmonic fields blending with the defensive formations of human warships. The alliance had grown. Other species who had seen the resilience of the humans and the wisdom of the Lumini now joined them, creating a coalition unlike any before. Marina Chen paced the bridge of the Erebus, watching the incoming telemetry. The Dominion's fleet was vast, an ocean of ships blotting out the stars as they moved. Blake Washington, standing next to her, watched the display with a mixture of awe and concern. "This is it," he said. "The galaxy's watching, and not just for who wins. They want to see if hope can outlast the storm." Astra's holographic form flickered onto the bridge, the soft light of her projection calming the tension in the room. "We must show them that hope is not a fleeting light, it is the fire that survives even in the darkest night." The battle begins. The Dominion's armada arrived like a tidal wave, their warships glistening black and edged with crimson, bristling with weapons meant to end alliances and sow fear. The first salvo was brutal. Energy lances cut through space, targeting Lumini ships in an attempt to disrupt their harmonics, but the Alliance had anticipated this. High Illuminator Astra and her fleet responded with a counterwave, a radiant pulse that bent the incoming energy, creating a dazzling array of refracted light that shielded the human and allied ships. It was both beautiful and deadly, a testament to the Lumini's mastery over the unseen. The Erebus launched a coordinated strike, flanked by smaller, agile human ships that darted through gaps in the enemy line. Marina shouted commands with a voice that inspired confidence even in the chaos. Dr. Kumar, stationed in the medical bay, directed her teams to prepare for incoming casualties, turning her expertise towards saving as many lives as possible. A battle of minds and machines. The Dominion, not to be outdone, activated their ultimate weapon, a psychic disruptor capable of breaking the will of entire fleets. The weapon's effects rippled across the Allied ships, causing disorientation and panic. But the humans had prepared for this. The Lumini's teachings of focused meditation and collective resonance were put into action. Soldiers and pilots alike closed their eyes, synchronized their breathing, and found strength not just in themselves, but in the unity that bound them. Dr. Kumar's voice echoed through the combs, guiding them with calm instructions on how to resist the dissonance. Marina felt the pressure in her mind, like an unseen hand trying to pry her resolve apart. But then, through the haze, she heard the familiar hum of Lumini energy and the steady beat of human resilience. Blake's voice came through, light and confident. "Hold on, everyone." They underestimated what peace can teach a warrior. The moment of defiance. As the disruptor faltered, Astra activated the Coalition's trump card, a pulse of energy that harmonized with the core frequencies of the Lumini ships and spread across the fleet. The psychic wave that had threatened to break them was absorbed and redirected, aimed straight back at the Dominion's command ships. General Malarax felt the impact first. His mind screamed with the sudden force of thousands of unified wills pushing back. The Dominion's ships hesitated, faltered, their discipline shattered by a weapon they hadn't expected: unity. The human and allied fleets surged forward, launching their final offensive. Marina watched as the Dominion's flagship, the Vanguard of Eternity, took a direct hit from a combined volley of human and Lumini firepower. The ship cracked, its proud frame splintering as flames erupted across its surface. In his final moments, Emperor Vala Nex stood unblinking as the explosion consumed the bridge, his ambitions swallowed by the light he had sought to extinguish. Victory and beyond. The battle was over, but its impact was just beginning. Across the galaxy, the story of how humanity and the Lumini, with their allies, had stood against the mightiest force in space spread like wildfire. Vezari's floating cities glowed brighter than ever as celebrations erupted. Humans and Lumini, once worlds apart in their approach to life, shared embraces, songs, and stories. Ambassador Krolvex stood in the council chamber, watching as representatives from dozens of species signed a new treaty. one that spoke not of empires but of collective peace and protection. Blake Washington stood beside him, a tired smile on his face. Who would have thought it would come to this? Pizza, meditation, and defiance. Kroll chuckled. A rare sound. The galaxy is vast, but it seems it always has more to teach us. Marina Chan joined them, still in her battle-worn uniform. We fought as one today, but this is only the beginning. We've shown the galaxy what we can achieve together. Now we have to ensure it stays this way. High Illuminator Astra's glow shimmered as she spoke, her voice filled with hope. The peace we won is precious, but now, we must nurture it, protect it, and show that unity is not just a tactic, it is our way forward. Epilogue, The Light That Endures. As the starlit waves of Vezari reflected the celebrations, messages of peace and alliance spread to the farthest corners of the galaxy. Even the most cynical races reconsidered their paths, inspired by the events they had witnessed. And so, humanity, the Lumini, and their allies embarked on a new chapter, one where they were no longer just warriors, diplomats, or pacifists, but the guardians of an alliance that had proven that even in the deepest darkness, light and unity could prevail.